Okay, I'll be completely honest with you guys. I actually feel kind of like responsible towards the Star Wars community. Star Wars in terms of making content and talking about the stories, the characters, the scaling, all that. It's one of my first loves. So I do feel like just seeing how the community doesn't have a really strong Versus series leader right now. Shout out to Antoine Bandel. He used to be like my favorite Star Wars guy to watch. I don't think he makes it anymore, but go check out his channel. It seems like a fantastic guy. He used to make series like this, and so did a few others, but I feel like I could carry that torch now. And what I'm going to be doing, I created a new video schedule. It's displayed in my server, which, by the way, you guys should definitely join. I will do weekly Star Wars Versus series inverse matchups. They will be done on either a Saturday or a Sunday, but they will be done weekly starting now. Most likely Sundays, by the way. But starting now with our first one, it's Plo Koon, the renowned Jedi General, versus Darth Malgus, the legendary Sith General. Now, what would happen if these two clash? I'm going to break down both characters for you and let you know who I think wins at the end of the video. If you want to learn more about these characters, definitely join the Discord, because I'm actually going to make the scripts for all my inverse Star Wars videos public. Like, they'll be in my public server, so definitely do that. If you want to see your favorite character on here, on my second channel, The Coffee Shop, make sure to hit me up on Discord to discuss prices, as well as 3 videos right now are only $50. So, can't beat it. Best video package. Definitely hit me up. But anyways, yeah, I'm excited for this. This is the debut battle in my Star Wars Versus series. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy. Sit back and relax. It's your boy Jobbers and Goons, and run the likes up. Let's try to get it to 200 likes. But anyways, let's begin. So first off, why did I choose this matchup to get into first? Let me kind of go over some of the reasons why I found this battle interesting, because all my Star Wars Versus series battles will be battles that genuinely interest me. 1. Both are obviously legendary generals from their eras. And these eras did experience rapid events of war, with one being the Great War and the Old Republic skirmishes, the other being the Clone Wars era. Both of them, again, highly accomplished during those times as generals. Another reason, both are considered controversial in one way or another for their practices and beliefs. Where Plo Koon would use controversial moves and abilities that most Jedi wouldn't even dare attempt. On the other side, Darth Malgus was always willing to run up on his own people to take power and declare himself the true emperor. So he was very controversial because he'll backstab anyone. He's even worse in terms of backstabbing than the normal Sith, which is literally their practice. Another reason, both are known for their ability with variants of Force Lightning. Plo Koon calls his variant Electric Judgment, where obviously Darth Malgus uses a couple different forms of lightning. So I do think it's interesting on that front. Both of them are famous for that. And while they're not perfect combatants, both are considered historical tough outings for most due to their strength and prowess. So within verse, they are considered really tough opponent. Again, it's the way they fight, their total package as warriors, that makes them tough for anyone of any era. A majority of fighters truly struggle with or just lose to Plo Koon or Darth Malgus in verse. And then finally, they are almost polar opposites of the same coin. Plo Koon, like the righteous Templar that will exercise extreme force in order to bring about righteous judgment. And then you have Darth Malgus, the man who thinks he's the devil himself, bringing about the dark side and all things related to it and its evil nature to the battlefield. Now, how I'm going to review these characters, I'm going to briefly explain both origins when I go through their side. And then I'll go over 3 categories. 1 being physicals, everything they bring on the physical side of things. 2 being their combat skills and intelligence. And then the 3rd category being hacks, abilities, and gear. At the end of those, both sides being reviewed, I will go over who wins the categories, and then finally who I think would win if these two clash. And finally, for my Star Wars fans, sit back and relax. We're getting into the review side for both characters. First, we're going to start off with Plo Koon. Plo is a Jedi Master who served during the Clone Wars era. Even from a young age, it was known Plo would be a formidable Jedi. His family and bloodline is renowned as a member of the Keldor race with exceptional prowess in the Force. Plo Koon gained a reputation as a powerful general in the Clone Wars, and was known to dabble in arts and abilities that would scare off other Jedi. Despite his many wins, Koon was sadly slain during Order 66 and was shot down. Plo will be remembered for his prowess on the battlefield and his wisdom in the temples of the Jedi. Now, let's get into the physical side of things for Plo Koon. Plo was always a legend in combat, and was even able to physically dominate others even as a Padawan. This was made evident by the fact that he was a war hero by Padawan era in the Republic. This is quite remarkable, again, to be a Padawan and to be dominating on the battlefield to the point you're a legend already by Padawan age, it's just absurd. He was a Keldor alien race male of insane strength that is further enhanced by his Force powers. This has allowed him to ragdoll massive alien fighters casually, either concussing them or knocking them outright, as oftentimes he can simply toy with them with his speed and strength. He has been shown to casually blitz and ragdoll large alien criminals, and is consistently revered as one of the most physically daunting Jedi of his era, again in an era where most of the Jedi are forged through the Clone Wars. His speed was literally too much for Aurra Sing, as he absolutely melted her, disarmed her, and had her captive within a couple swift moves. This is impressive because Aurra is renowned for killing Jedi and literally being an expert on getting the drop on and defeating Jedi. So it's quite special that he's able to blitz her so casually, as most would not be able to do that. In combat, clones couldn't even process the speed Plo Koon displayed, as he slayed enemies and cut down what seemed like dozens before they could even speak. He was just an absolute blur in combat, ripping through them. He was fast enough to intercept an incoming bloodlusted Legends Asajj Ventress, who was trying to catch him off guard. This is insanely impressive because Legends Asajj can keep up with and even arguably defeat Kenobi and Fisto at the time, and had done so before. So for Koon to do this is quite impressive. And in my opinion, Plo is actually kind of slept on in his durability. He was easily able to fight his way against Asajj Ventress, and he did so with a broken arm. He took hits to this damaged arm and blasted back Asajj anyway, showing insane resolve and a will to win despite being injured. Plo was also able to go physically toe-to-toe with enraged Savage Opress. Savage, when enraged, just for side scaling, could push back Kenobi and Anakin at the same time, yet Koon had no problem holding his own. Koon even tagged Savage easily, but got distracted trying to protect troopers around him. This was when Savage exposed Plo's only weakness, his breathing mask. Without the mask, Plo will die due to his race's inability to intake oxygen. So he was taken out temporarily in this battle, but if he wasn't distracted by the troopers, it'd be a lot different, as he was physically easily able to contend with enraged Savage. Overall, Plo is one of the most formidable physical combatants during his time for Jedi. While his mask is a weakness point, Plo makes up for this with toughness, disgusting quick burst speed, and formidable strength. Besides the breathing apparatus, Plo Koon is a tough competitor in all other physical categories. Next, let's discuss his fighting and combat skill and intelligence. Plo is one of the most well-rounded and experienced Jedi warriors of his time. He had legendary feats in such wars as the Stark Hyperspace War and was a top-tier wartime general, renowned and called legendary in most encounters he took part in. Plo, in terms of his dueling abilities and lightsaber combat, was a complete master of Form 5. This lightsaber style is built upon the idea of a strong defense, followed swiftly by a brutal retaliation. Plo used this tough defensive tactic and blitz-style attacks to be a dangerous duelist for basically anyone he runs into. Even the legendary Jedi Master, Qui-Gon Jinn himself, notated that Plo Koon was an expert with the blade and an expert in swordsmanship. Keep in mind, Qui-Gon served under Count Dooku, who himself is one of the greatest skilled duelists ever and could keep up with the likes of Yoda and Mace Windu, and even had wins over Windu in sparring. So this is quite a good compliment to come from Qui-Gon. Tactically, Plo likes to either catch opponents off guard or lure them into a false sense of equal engagement. He has shown that he will even literally change the battlefield with the Force to suit his needs and to throw off his opponents. While he has never shown the need to use it in combat, Plo Koon is a powerful mind user and can use the Force to replace or restore memories, which can possibly confuse opponents. His intelligence with the Force and many experiences allows him to be a creative combatant. Plo is also one of the best hand-to-hand fighters the Order has ever created, and he himself is considered a legendary fighter in close quarters combat. Considering that high-tier hunters and fighters in Star Wars learn all conceived martial arts, this is insane for him to be a legend. Plo is so dominant on the battlefield that his tactics and leadership are considered to produce miracles in the fights. He was known for dropping into battles that he had no business winning and literally just turning the tides of battle by himself. Plo was such a dangerous and skilled warrior that Darth Maul himself considered two top Jedi for combat. One was Plo Koon, the other Mace Windu. Darth Maul was under the firm belief that these two would be the truest test of all of his combat skill, putting from his view Plo in perhaps the top tier overall combative tier for Jedi at that time, along with Mace and obviously by proxy Yoda, which is quite the compliment. And to be acknowledged as formidable from Darth Maul is impressive given the fact that he is so anti-complimenting anybody. So it is quite impressive he got a compliment from Maul himself. While perhaps not the best Jedi ever, his quick wit and willingness to use Force to win the day made for one of the most combatively gifted Jedi of his time, as multiple times Plo Koon is considered and remarked as one of the most accomplished and formidable combative Jedi to ever be produced. Plo was also a fantastic lightsaber duelist who was able to duel Savage pretty easily. Savage was even tagged in just a couple panels, and if Plo didn't get distracted, who ultimately knows how the duel would have gone, as literally it was easy for Koon to tag Savage. He even was able to go toe-to-toe with Legends Asajj and controlled the fight for most of the time. Not only this, Plo was injured at the time and could only use one arm. Ventress had pressed Fisto and Kenobi at the same time in Legends, so this is very impressive for Plo Koon to pull this off. Overall, in terms of combat skill and intelligence, Plo Koon is one of the most balanced Jedi to ever take up the mantle of Jedi Master, General, and Council member. His philosophies and brilliance, coupled with quick wit, made him a nightmare to go toe-to-toe with in combat. His hand-to-hand skill is legendary, putting him in the higher tiers of martial artists in the verse. His prowess with Form 5 allowed him to be a juggernaut as a duelist. I'd consider Plo one of the best Jedi combatants in his era, if not all time, in terms of combat skill and intelligence. Finally, let's get into hacks, abilities, and gear. Among his arsenal, of course, for Plo Koon is his famous lightsaber. This blade is of blue hue and is of sleek design. Of course, the blade is damn near lethal if it makes any clean contact in a duel, and this is his primary gear. He does wear light combat armor assigned to some Jedi, but it's nothing of crazy help in terms of durability. His force powers were devastating in combat. His ability to change the battlefield is credited to the fact that he not only is powerful in the Force, but he is a brilliant scientific mind as well. Koon's family and bloodline is also, like I mentioned earlier in the video, among the greatest sages and Force users in existence, as even Grandmaster Luke sought teachings of the Barad-dû sages, which of course, like I said, Koon's family was a part of. His precog and farsight is also very formidable. Even Force users failed to really get the drop on him when locked into combative scenarios. His genes also give him a natural amp to telekinetic aspects, as he has stronger and advanced extrasensory organs. He has absolutely ragdolled opponents with the Force, including the likes of Asajj Ventress, who can combat other council members in the Force, yet got ragdolled by Koon, who also force pushed something she had on her later. His telepathic prowess and power in combat even led him to look down on Jedi Master Kit Fisto in combative telepathy. His force push and telekinetic attacks were lethal, as he could dispatch waves of warriors and also could collapse massive mountain tunnels with simply the wave of a hand and the crushing fist of the Force. Koon was also an expert in defensive applications of the Force. While injured, he can deploy Force barriers to stop an avalanche, and can also redirect Force users that are pressing him. Most famously, Koon was a user of Electric Judgment. This is the Force lightning technique, fine-tuned to be more suitable for Jedi principles by Plo Koon himself. While Koon hasn't been demonstrated to use Force or Electric Judgment that much, just one bolt incapacitated a criminal lord that he fought, and the second bolt completely KO'd the criminal pommel, as Plo obviously demonstrated he had an intimate knowledge on the capabilities of that every aspect of his Electric Judgment. And what makes this ability dangerous is that Koon was later confirmed in the Essential Guide to the Force to have completely perfected it and can use it to whatever purpose he needs. It could be to incapacitate, disarm, or even kill if need be. In conclusion, Plo Koon is one of the most advanced Force users of the Jedi Republic era. He also was a dominant duelist, being named among the legends in dueling. Koon is a general with a war-oriented mind and pace, and is a strong warrior who has complete faith in the Force and in his abilities. And with that, hit the like button if you're a Plo Koon fan, and smash the likes if you're a fan of Star Wars, as we are going to go ahead and shift over to Darth Malgus. A young Sith prodigy, Darth Malgus earned his name once enrolled at the Sith Academy. A terror in the old Sith Republic, Malgus had complete faith in the dark side of the Force, and did not take long to make a name for himself. Darth Malgus would slay many notable Jedi Masters of his era, including Battlemaster Kyo Sindarach and Ven Zalo. Malgus would beef with Satil Shen many times, who was a Grandmaster, and would suffer multiple injuries in his many campaigns. Eventually, Malgus would be frozen away for time, only to be eventually brought back for potential lore expansion later. Now, with some of his background and origin out of the way, let's go over his physicals. Darth Malgus is one of the most physically daunting Sith Lords to ever take the battlefield. His normal kicks in combat are enough to fold Jedi in engagements, absolutely ragdolling them if he makes contact with physical strikes. His grappling ability, and just like his one-shot ability, getting up close, is dangerous for even Jedi Knights. He grabbed one Jedi Knight in particular by the neck, and through strength, literally one-shot him with a choke. Just simple strikes from Darth Malgus can send Jedi rocketing away, shattering stone that they slam into, and in some instances even kill upon the strike. Malgus's speed was so pure that even other Force users saw his defensive blade cycles when he sped up his blade as a complete energy shield, given how fast he literally was moving. He was able to process dozens of attacks in laser bolts and other attacks from troopers, and he perfectly countered them with ease as everything was literally in slow motion to him. His willpower and gas tank is incredible as well, and in my opinion probably one of his most famous aspects to his character, as he has fought through multiple injuries and exhaustion only to continue to slaughter Jedi. In conclusion, for the physicals on the side of Darth Malgus is a brutal warrior, built to walk down on others. While yes, he has been taken down before, it typically requires an insane amount of power, in some cases part of a literal mountain. However, putting him down for good is a completely different story. His strength is infamous, and overall, Malgus is a prototype Sith tank class warrior with renown in strength and durability. Now, for me personally, I would say that Darth Malgus is one of the most fun Sith characters in Star Wars to analyze for combat, abilities, and all that. So going over his skill and intelligence as well will be a blast for me. Now, due to his inherent belief in the dark side and his skills as a warrior and as a fighter for the dark side of the Force, we see that Malgus was almost unmatched in prowess in the art of killing and was considered unmatched in what he pulled off on the battlefield. This also comes from higher Sith Lords acknowledging what he's done in combat and his abilities as a combatant. Darth Malgus was also a reputable member of the Dark Council, at one point being dubbed the Emperor, like one of the Emperor's greatest warriors. Only a Sith with incredible cunning and battlefield skill or prowess can obtain such a position, as they are looked at to basically hold it down should the Emperor ever be actually compromised. Now, Malgus, while his martial art technicality background hasn't been fleshed out in terms of hand-to-hand combat, we do know at the absolute worst, he is a brilliant brawler and skilled in mixing in strikes, as even Jedi Masters can't seem to anticipate these powerful strikes. We do know from guidebooks and RPGs that Malgus dabbled in several forms, but to me the most we see him use are Juyo and Form 5. Juyo being an aggressive, highly sophisticated attacking form made to completely overwhelm and incapacitate your opponents, whereas Form 5 is a strong form built on strong defenses and overwhelming aggression to overcome them after. And while he's not really pushed on his back foot that often, Malgus is a pretty good defensive duelist. However, he is known for his overwhelming style, which I credit mostly to Juyo, although I would like to state I do think Naman and other practices come into play for him because they extrapolate further upon physical strikes. And I would say even to an extent he's made his own style where he gets to brawl and overwhelm you essentially. Before the Great War even occurred, Malgus was dubbed one of the best and most fierce warriors to ever battle for the Sith side in general. His dueling and lightsaber form was considered essentially flawless by the hero of Typhon, who had nothing but praise for Darth Malgus in terms of what he brought to the table as a skilled combatant. The hero of Typhon, for reference, is a legendary Jedi Master and fighter from the Old Republic era and obviously a protagonist. The only flaw for Malgus, according to the Typhon, or the hero of Typhon, comes from the fact that Malgus has a very anger-clouded and central mentality, and this often can get in the way of him as a fighter, as it takes away from multiple steps, as he almost develops like an enraged, it is dangerous, but an enraged tunnel vision. A brought back rejuvenated Malgus believed he was superior in skill to even the heretic Revan, according to his own words. And for reference, we know that Revan was actually able to style on Malak in a duel before and damage him, and has beaten characters that literally could see several moments into the future, if not significant amounts of time, and he still was able to outpace them. So Malgus, considering himself like pretty easily above them in skill and capability in combat, is massively impressive. Malgus was also arguably the most dominant fighter of all the Sith generals or commanders of that time, according to several reports in the Old Republic, including the Dantooine incursion. We do know that Malgus had been beaten before, but he's still considered perhaps the most dangerous combatant of that time. Sidious himself, the greatest Sith Lord ever, if not one of the greatest Sith Lords ever, said that he respected Darth Malgus in his skill and brilliance in battle. In fact, Darth Sidious went on to extrapolate that he believes that Malgus had an argument for being peerless in pure warfare in the trenches, which is quite high praise from such a supreme Sith Emperor. Malgus is also very skilled in attacks from multiple fronts, as he has taken on Jedi strike teams literally by himself. So overcoming him with multiple step attacks and like complex multi-angle attack fronts really won't prove to be that damaging to him, as he has plenty of experience in that field. Even the legendary hero of Typhon would not have been able to contend with Malgus in one-on-one, as all of the fighters, from regardless of the group he brings to fight him, as obviously you can choose different storylines, the entire group concedes that 1v1, none of them would have bested in fair combat Darth Malgus, which is just a crazy amount of praise for him. As we know, the hero Typhon has taken on the Emperor himself before. As a duelist, martial artist, and combative mind, Darth Malgus was quite literally bred for all three conditions. Even the likes of Darth Sidious himself respected his skill and exploits as a warrior, and moved to practice and even replicate some of his feats. Malgus is a power duelist, fluid in several forms, but clearly great at Form 5 and 7. He is an aggressive fighter, one who will overwhelm, not take his time to break you down. Now next we need to review hacks, abilities, and gear for the dreaded Darth Malgus. Due to injuries sustained during his time served in war, Darth Malgus has donned war armor and cybernetics to enhance his physicals and make up for past scars and debilitating wounds suffered during combat. He wears a breathing apparatus and mask to help his damaged lungs, but this isn't as big of a detriment as people think, given that it is a mask made to amp his output of oxygen, thus arguably helping him with cardio in combat. While not the most ideal of situations, his armor, inherent toughness and durability through the Force, and his Sith red-bladed lightsaber make a formidable loadout for gear. As a Force user and a warrior, the Sith Academy helped teach Malgus to immerse himself fully in the dark side, expanding his potential and power constantly as long as he served. Malgus fully amped himself through the dark side by meeting all conditions of a true Sith warrior. To do this, he even killed his own true love in order to sever all possible ties to the light side of the Force. According to Malgus, ideas like love were a potential barrier in his pure connection to the dark side and power, thus he had to rid himself fully of such conditions. It is important to note that even though he has gone through reconstruction and some cybernetic upgrades, Darth Malgus remained just as dominant through the Force and as a combative fighter with Force abilities. Darth Bane, one of the most potent and skilled users of the dark side abilities, also one of the most academically prodigious Sith, given how much groundwork he laid for the fundamentals of the dark side of the Force. Even Darth Bane considered Malgus a legend in the same field as he, which is high praise coming from someone of Darth Bane's stature and notability. Darth Malgus has advanced precognition and future farsight, allowing him to see upcoming events and how they will be won, as well as allowing him to fight faster opponents and dictate where their moves will go next. Darth Malgus will remain undeterred in combat, given he has seen himself cause galactic-wide destruction, and firmly believes it's like his inherent destiny to bring complete dark side to the galaxy. Malgus is a fair user of TK usage in combat, and will even attempt lightsaber rips from others, which you rarely see. Like, you rarely see Jedi and Sith steal each other's lightsabers outright, but Malgus has been seen doing this casually, even as a underling to a Sith Lord. He is also a monster with Force lightning. Malgus himself can also incorporate telekinetic usage and telekinetic pushes into his lightning blasts in order to blast back opponents or hold them off from reaching him. Darth Malgus has demonstrated that he can overcome the Force shields of powerful Jedi Masters and Force users, such as Satele Shan, who can unleash blasts that can level mountains. If Darth Malgus overcomes your Force defenses, he may also attempt to literally crush you, which he has been shown to have done to Jedi combatants alike. Malgus can also completely spam Force abilities and combinations, including Force pushes, brutal Force waves, Force lightning, and lightsaber telekinetic pushes and throws, showing an advanced repertoire in the Force and showing he can string together vicious combos. His telekinetic prowess was absolutely incredible, given that he could ragdoll the hero Typhon, Darth Nox, and others at the same time, despite them pulling up on him simultaneously. His Force Maelstroms and Lightning Storms are powerful enough to literally slaughter multiple Jedi Knights, and what makes this crazy is you can argue it's just his regular base lightning that he has used in some cases, like in the Old Republic Deceived, when he's literally just slaughtered multiple Jedi with his lightning. He is also able to tag and ragdoll the hero Typhon and his companions with his Force lightning, even swiftly bringing them to their knees when they would not bend to his will. His Force Maelstrom, which you have heard me mention before, operates as sort of like a Force shield and lightning shield, and his barrage is much more devastating than normal lightning, as it is noted that if you're not familiar with the technique and you are unaware, you will be annihilated. In conclusion, Darth Malgus is one of the most devastating combatants to ever stalk the Star Wars galaxy. His belief in himself and the dark side forged him into a true Sith juggernaut, and he can stand against nearly anyone in combat. Now that we have gotten all the categories out of the way, let us go over real quick who I think takes the categories and then who I think would win in the battle. Real quick, if you are a Star Wars fan, Plo Koon fan, or a Darth Malgus fan, make sure to smash the like button, as obviously I put a lot of effort into this video, and I will be putting a shit ton of effort into the series in general, as again, we are doing this weekly with Star Wars Versus series. Now, for physicality, I think this is a little better of a discussion than most people would think. Obviously, there's a slight edge, at least, to Darth Malgus in the strength category. I mean, simply put, he absolutely ragdolls other Force users whenever he makes contact. Devastating brawler with brutal strength through the dark side of the Force. However, I do think Plo Koon has a fair argument for at least being slightly faster than Darth Malgus. Plo Koon has outright blitzed Jedi hunters and people that scale to and above the speed of Jedi, as well as he can keep up with other high-tier speed-based fighters in the verse. For example, Legends Asajj Ventress, who is overwhelming to fight even for the likes of Kenobi and Fisto. So I do think he does have a speed argument, but I do think in durability, Malgus takes it. Obviously, his breathing apparatus is a lot less detrimental than Koon, who will basically die if he doesn't absolutely divert the Force to sustaining himself without the mask. I don't think the mask would be attacked right away, so it kind of could be argued a moot point, though I just do think in pure durability, Malgus has outright shown more. So for the physical edge, I'm going to give it to Darth Malgus, although I don't think Plo Koon is a slouch in the physical department and will be comfortable going blow to blow with him. Now, in terms of combat ability and intelligence, while a dominant battlefield general and dark side juggernaut, I do not think Malgus is the same combative tier and intelligence as Plo Koon. Typically, the way Malgus is defeated is through high IQ and combative awareness, which Plo Koon is legendary for. He's even compared to the like of Oppo Rancisis in tactical prowess, who has used battle meditation and made tactical plans up with Yoda himself, the leader of the Jedi. So Koon can be argued one of the top strategical minds for the Jedi, and should be a smarter fighter than Malgus. Malgus also, to me, is not as skilled in hand-to-hand combat. I do think he's a brilliant brawler, but Plo Koon's downright legendary in martial arts skill, and I do think he's at least relative or slightly better, Plo Koon is, than Malgus at technical dueling ability. Plo Koon is a monster in technical skill with the blade, and I do think he is perhaps slightly better than Malgus in technical dueling, as duelists back in Malgus era were kind of made for quick hits and move on in combat, as there's so many fighting, whereas Plo Koon is bathed more in the art of the individual dueling. So I do think Plo Koon probably has more technical skill, and definitely is a smarter fighter. So I give this category a slight edge to Plo Koon. Now, in hacks, abilities, and gear, Malgus has the better armor, less detrimental breathing apparatus, and about the same for both of them in terms of their lightsaber blades. So I do feel in terms of like the gear, Malgus takes it. Now, Force abilities, Plo is balanced and a very good defensive and offensive stylistic Force user. However, I feel like the bag of tricks in combat is a little bit deeper for Malgus, as he is a character who spent so much time in conflict and looking for ways to damage his opponents. His variants of Force Lightning, he has Force Maelstrom, regular lightning, telekinetic infused lightning. This is a little more intricate and varied than just electric judgment from Plo Koon, but I do think Plo Koon is an inherent master of lightning-based abilities, so he would know how to counter for the most part due to his connection to the sages. Most, if not all, of the lightning abilities from Malgus. But I do think in combat, Malgus has shown better offensive repertoire with the Force. Koon does have very good defensive force properties, and yes, while Koon is a great defensive force user, I do think Malgus is also a great defensive force user, as he has demonstrated his unique abilities with Force Maelstrom to literally defend and attack at the same time. Abilities like this, his creativity in attacking you, and his ability to spam force techniques, and his tendency to do so, I believe, gives Malgus the edge as a hacks, abilities, and gear category user compared to Plo Koon. So, with the categories out of the way, and me kind of telling you who gets the edge in each categories, how do I see this battle playing out? Both these two legendary combatants would square off with one another, both analyzing each other in the stances they take, with Malgus taking a more Juyo base-centric approach to the start of the duel, and Plo Koon falling back into Form 5 stance. At the beginning of the duel, I see this favoring Plo Koon, as they would begin engaging in lightsaber dueling, and being faster and smarter and arguably more technically gifted. I do believe, similar to the Savage Opress, but not to that extreme and not as fast, I do believe the first blow or first strike would come from Plo Koon. Being quicker, I do think eventually he would tag Malgus. Malgus at this point would begin exercising his versatility through the Force. That is, start throwing unique attacks and properties at Plo Koon, really testing the waters on his opponent's ability to counter these attacks. I do not believe the early Force engagements would get the better of Plo Koon. I think they would put him on the defensive, but I do not see him, for example, getting blasted or knocked out by lightning early on, anything of that nature. I do see him countering, but being forced on the back heel, as the force capabilities of Darth Malgus are quite formidable, and things like lightning and TK pushes and barrages will be tough to defend by Plo Koon. As the two re-engage with the blade, Plo would land a strike here or two, Malgus would land his own, and while technically superior, the strikes from Malgus would hurt more. As the two continue to engage, Malgus continues to pour on and spam combative abilities and combos, starting to wear down the Keldor Master, as the smarter fighter would likely use something like a telekinetic barrier, or perhaps throwing debris to get separation from the Sith Lord, trying to gain a tactical edge against the Sith Lord. However, I believe the Sith Juggernaut would continue to march him down, and through a long engagement, mid to high difficulty, eventually the versatility, ferocity, and prowess as a battlefield Juggernaut for Darth Malgus would give him the edge over Plo Koon, and I do believe, though quite difficult, the Sith Lord would slay the renowned Jedi General. I declare Darth Malgus the victor in this Star Wars Versus series. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this battle. Obviously, it's a long one. That's probably gonna be how my Star Wars battles typically are, given I'm writing out the scripts, or at least partially scripting it, and then discussing at the end. So there are going to be long, almost like passion projects for me. So I would appreciate if you guys smash the like button, as I'll be giving you guys these battles consistently. And if you want to join the Discord, see the scripts, see the mini scans, and talk about Star Wars, simply click the link in the video description down below. And if you want to purchase a battle or characters on any of my channels, hit me up on the Discord to talk prices. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been your boy Jobbers and Goons. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe, road to 20K, and check out my second channel, The Coffee Shop. And I will see y'all later. Peace.